1935. Life wasn't easy. In fact, for many people, it was the roughest time of their lives that they would ever face. But somehow they survived. Jobs were still hard to find. Money was still scarce. And for many families, every single day was a struggle, just to get by. Um, People didn't think in terms of comfort, like I think like we do a lot today. They were thinking on survival. Food wasn't something that you took for granted. There were soup lines and so on. Um, if you had a meal on the table, you were grateful for that. Families stretched everything that they had. Um, Soup pots were filled with whatever could be found. Bread was never wasted. We do a lot of waste today, and leftovers weren't optional. They were necessary. Clothes were patched over and over again. Shoes were repaired instead of replaced. Children often wore hand-me-downs from older siblings. Nothing was thrown away because everything had value. And yet, in the middle of all that hardship, people found ways to keep going. Neighbors helped each other, communities stuck together. If someone had a little extra, they shared it because they knew next time they might be the ones that need it. In 1935, new programs started to appear, efforts to create jobs, help families stay afloat, to give people a sense that things might improve. They were hopeful. It wasn't instant, it wasn't easy, but it was something. And sometimes something is all people need to keep going. What was pretty remarkable about 1935, well, it just how hard life was. It's how strong people became. They learned how to make do, how to fix things, how to live with less, and still move forward. There were no shortcuts, no, quick fixes, just determination and patience, and the will to keep going. And even when things didn't seem to get better, they still kept going. And maybe that's the part we don't talk about enough. Not just the hardship, but the resilience, the strength, the quiet determination in people who refuse to give up. Because for many of them, survival wasn't a choice. And the lessons they learned would stay with them for the rest of their lives. I'm sure you do too, know a lot of people who were living during that time, born during that time, and they just view life differently than we do. They, at times we may call them tightwads or something, but it was what they grew up with and they knew. Did your parents or grandparents ever tell you stories about this time? Do you remember hearing about how people got through it? I remember stories from my parents and how, because my dad was born in 1935 and my mom was born in 1936. So, they were like 6 and 5 years old when the war came along. So they lived through that. But, there are, even though there's that part, the Depression, there are some things in 1935, some facts that I didn't know till recently that I think are kind of interesting to show that life went on. Did you know that was when the first parking meters were installed in Oklahoma City? And people hated them at first, but apparently got used to them because they're still around. Color movies started to appear. Most films obviously were still black and white, but early Technicolor films were beginning to appear. And it's kind of ironic that, you know, in an age when people were very poor, that Monopoly became widely popular. You know, it's kind of ironic that during one of the most economic times ever, people were playing a game about getting rich and while struggling with real life. I just wanted to pick this year because I think it ties in a little bit with some things I've talked about a couple of times, and that is, you know, not giving up on life, not stopping, still learning, growing, exercising the brain, that type of thing. So I hope you found this informative and entertaining, and we all learned a little something together today, including those little other tidbits. But thanks again for tuning in. Really appreciate your attention, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.